Are you living life by your design? Do you know who you're impacting? Do you know how you're making your money, your income? Now, this channel is going to be about my journey of how I'm living life by my design, how I'm having my identity shift, who I'm impacting and how I'm impacting them, and how I'm going to be making my income. And it doesn't just involve just one thing. Now, thinking about my identity element first and foremost, that was something that I've had to work really hard on, in the sense that as a businesswoman or just as a person in business, you get told this word, niche down. You got a niche down or niche, or however you want to pronounce it. For a very long time, I found that hard to do. And when I find things hard to do, I just freeze. You got the fight, flight, freeze, and fawn mode. I go into freeze mode. I- Like, I act like I don't know what I'm doing. I act like I don't know how I got here. I just freeze, because if I can't do that, then what am I gonna do? Yeah. Anybody out there get what I'm talking about? So, 2026, I'll be turning 50. I have had so many thoughts go through my mind about, who am I? What do I want to do? Why do I want to do this? And so I thought I'll share some of these conversations that I've been having with myself with you all. So you can get to know who I am, why I do what I do, and if I could potentially support you in what you want to do. First and foremost, I'm Andrea. As I said earlier, I will be turning 50 this year in August, to be precise. And I understand that turning 50 is a pivotal moment, and I'm going to make it a pivotal moment that I want to get into that rhythm of, who am I? I don't just want to be conforming anymore, because I spent so much of my life conforming to the way that society says that I, as a woman, I, as a black woman, should behave and should do certain things. Then I started to conform as how I, as a businesswoman, should be doing things. Niche down, don't do this, do things this way, or you're going to confuse people. And what happened was, I got confused, I got overwhelmed, and I just froze. I just stopped doing things. And so I no longer want to continue in that vein. And I know, and I hope I'm not alone when I'm saying all of this. And I hope that someone can resonate with at least one thing that I'm saying. Let's get started. Over the last few months, I've been going through, how do I want to show up? And that's meant that I haven't been showing up. So how I want to show up is helping women primarily over 40 to reclaim their identity, to own their own voice, and to stop shrinking in life and business. Now, when I came up with that idea, I said, but hold on a minute. That sounds like something that you need to do. And lo and behold, I started to go on that journey. Now, part of that journey wasn't just simply reclaiming my identity just by, who do I want to be, and journaling and writing, or yeah. I use human design, gene keys, with a sprinkle of astrology to help me. And with that, I really, for a long time, I've been using human design, and I'm like, is it just me? Does it just work for me? But when I talk to my clients around how it helps them, it really helped me to know that, yeah, this stuff actually works. And I've got to, what I was doing, which was shrinking myself, was, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to say, but this, why human design? What is it? It was made by this person and that. And people are just going to talk regardless. And I thought, 2026, I am blocking out that noise, and I'm just going to go for it, because those people that are talking are not paying my bills, and neither am I if I don't talk. Hence why I'm here now. when I first started doing human design work, I was confused as to why people would want to have a human design coach or someone who utilizes human design within the work that they do. Because there wasn't a lot of people, especially people that look like me, doing this. And that was another one of my shrinking moments is that, well, who am I to do this? Why would someone want to work with me? I can go on and on about all the negative talk that I had with myself, the conversations that I've had with myself, but I won't do that right now. So yeah, so I utilize human design and I also utilize, you could say, like the cousin of human design called gene keys. And one thing I love about the gene keys is that it has, say, three levels to it. So you have the shadow level, then you have the gift level, and then you have the siddhi level. And over the years, I have done shadow work. And now, when I was introduced to gene keys and the shadow of the gene keys, it's like, what shadow work was I actually doing? Because one thing I struggled with shadow work was that, what am I writing about? What are my shadows? I'm not too sure. Are they this? Are they that? Again, I could go away with the theories and think all different kind of thoughts. But with gene keys, you actually get shadows that are aligned to you specifically. And a word that I knew but didn't really use a lot was contemplate. So there were words that you get, and then one of my shadows is dishonesty. And I'm like, I'm, I'm dishonest. I'm not a liar. Like, what do you mean? And when I started to contemplate that word of dishonesty, I was like, and I really had to sit with, right, so where in my life have I been dishonest? Hmm, that pen didn't stop because it's not about lying. It's not about the white lies. It's not about the negative shadow work. So it's like the negative aspect, but not the everyday use of the word dishonesty. I have been dishonest in my business for a very long time, in the sense that I tell people sometimes that I do human design, not all the time. And so for me, that's a bit of dishonesty because I'm not owning who I truly am and the work that I love to do, because I'm another element of human design, which is your genetic trauma. Mine is shame. So I was a bit shameful of it because, again, there's not a lot of people that look like me that are doing this work. And the people that are doing this work, I don't always align to them because we're just different. And I don't see myself as, yes, I don't always align with them in the sense that I don't see myself in them or anything that they do. I don't see myself as like really woo, but I do love that side of the world. That's what made it difficult for me. I made it difficult for me because of the shame and because of the limiting beliefs that I had, and because I was shrinking myself, because I wasn't owning my own voice. And so, yeah, so one of, like I said, the dishonesty I had to go through, I had to look at, okay, what else apart from my business have I been dishonest? And there are a few things about being in relationships. And again, it's not about lying, it's just not about talking my full truth and saying what really on my heart, or saying what's on my mind, and saying what I want to say. And so I then become a people pleaser. And again, that is being dishonest when you really think about it. So for me, there was that journey, and there's about 13 spheres, about 13 shadows that you look at. And even though you've got the shadow, this is the part that I love about the gene key work, is that you've got the gift. So for me, my shadow was one of my shadows was dishonesty, but the gift is intimacy. Again, who am I getting intimate with? But it's not looking at it as an everyday word. It's contemplating that word and what's the journey of me going from dishonesty to intimacy. And I'm like living in my gift right now, being intimate with you all, talking about my lived experience. And yeah, this is part of intimacy and this is part of the work that I need to be doing. And this is part of what I've been shrinking and not owning my voice. And recently I've been doing a lot more work with astrology, and everything that comes up is saying it's just repeating itself. It's basically your money are gonna make when you start to be more visible, when you start to be more intimate with people, when you just start talking about what you do, talking it in your own way, not putting on a pretense, not putting on a facade, just do it your way. And that is what people would want to see. And that is you being authentic. Because for a long time, I've been trying to, can I do it this way? Because this person does it that way. So maybe I should do it. No. And when something doesn't align with me, I can't, I'm just so real. You see it on my face. Like people know if I don't, if I don't want to talk to you, you know that I just don't want to talk to you. Like they say, my face says 1,000 words. I've even had somebody say to me, like, I know complete stranger. I can't remember exactly what happened, but he just said, "Your face just said it all." Like literally, he could verbalize what my face was saying, and so that's why I just can't show up if I don't feel aligned with what it is that I'm doing, and that is actually part of my design. So as well as using human design and gene keys with a sprinkle of astrology, my main thing is now is working on identity. So helping women over 40, primarily women over 40, to reclaim their identity by using those modalities. And then once we've done that, then they're primarily women in business. So then if they're women in business that I'm supporting, then I can then also help them with their business strategy because I'm a business strategist. And so one thing about me as well, I love an acronym, or I love, oh, I can't remember what the word's called now. Elicitation, when words begin with the same letter. So my first one for this work is I help you with your identity so that you know who you're going to impact, so that you know how you're going to have your income, which equals your legacy. Because for a long time, I was working on income. Yeah, it worked. But then when you're focused on the money, it doesn't always equate to what you want it to equate to. So I said, all right, then impact over income because I'm not going to focus on the money. Cool. That worked for a period of time. And then I thought there's something missing from this impact over income. And it was identity. So when I really truly sat down with myself, because everything that I do first and foremost for my clients, I do for myself. So when I sat down with myself and said, what is my identity? Who am I showing up as? How is who I'm showing up as is going to impact people so that the people that need me will pay me effectively. It sounds rather blunt, but it is what it is. We're in business. We're not in business to just say that we're in business. I had for a long while, but anyway, I digress. Yeah, so it is working on your identity first because a lot of the clients that I worked with their business strategy, oh, I don't really want to show up. I don't really want to be visible. What's that all about then? So we have to look into your identity, and your past identity is not your current identity. And a lot of the time, especially women over 40, we've been living a lot in the past identity and conforming to either being a wife, a girlfriend, a mother, a sister, whoever, an employee. We collect those labels and just, they just, oh, that's just me. And I didn't want to be that's just me going into my 50s. I want to be someone that is positive, aligns with who their identity is, knows who they want to impact, know who I'm talking to, and make my money. And then leave a legacy for my child, my grandchildren, and the rest of my family. And so that's how identity plus impact plus income came about. But if we go before that, I my business is by your design. And then I added on to that, we should all be living life by our design. And again, come up with some great names. And then I have to check myself because are you actually living life by your design? And I had to be honest with myself, I hadn't been. And so I had to go through the process of what does it look like for me to actually live my life by my design? And I'm still on that journey. I'm not saying that it's finished. I'm just saying that I know I have the resources to learn how to live my life by my design. And I'm a few steps ahead of other women that want to live their life by their design. And so me working on my identity has really solidified who I want to impact, and thus that's how I'm going to make my money. Again, I'm just talking out loud to you all. So yeah, so that's live life by your design. And before that, I had something called bounce forward, and that was an acronym for working on your beliefs. What are your limiting beliefs, and how can you reframe those limiting beliefs? How being optimistic, what's your view for the future? What makes you unique? Now, that one there, I really had to sit with that one. And a lot of things made me unique, but I didn't want to own those things that made me unique because it boiled down to just shame. Who else is doing this? But that's what makes you unique because not everybody is doing this and you do things in your unique way. And sitting with your own resources is hard work because I have to really practice what I teach. And I'm on that. I'm on that. I'm not one saying I came up with it, so I'm not going to use it. No, I'm going to use it. Yeah. So we've got B for beliefs, O for optimistic, U for unique, N for nourish. And not about what you're eating, but that does play a big part. But it's also about what you're listening to, what you're reading, who are you talking to, who are you listening to, what conversations are you having, and I really had to check myself with those things there as well. And I have two C's because that's what makes me unique. I do things differently. So the C's interchangeable. I get 1 minute. I know confidence is definitely there because you do have to have confidence. When you're bouncing forward, you have to have the confidence in what you're doing. And again, I didn't have always have the confidence in the work that I was doing. Hence why I wasn't showing up, hence why I was shrinking, hence why I wasn't owning my own voice, and hence why I'm now reclaiming my identity. So confidence, consistency. Now, I have a very bad habit of not being consistent. But then when I look at am I living by my life by my design, I have what we call an emotional authority. So I have to do things as a manifesting generator that lights me up. And I know you're going to sit back. I have to do things that light me up too. I can't. No, there are some people that can just get or go through life and just do things, even if it's a job, it pays. I've actually turned down things because it wasn't lighting me up. But yes, and it was paying very well. So consistency with showing up, consistency with talking about the same thing in different ways. And then there was congruent. So being congruent with, I've been incongruent for a little while still. So saying that I'm going to do things, but not actually doing them. Anybody out there? Yeah. So I swap the C's as and when, depending on what I'm doing or who I'm working with. And then you've got E for emotional intelligence. And so no, it's not just knowing my own emotions and how I deal with things and what rattles me, what gives me peace, what gives me harmony, but also knowing that of family members, of clients, and of just of people in general where that's possible. So I went through life when it comes to emotional intelligence, like taking on the persona of the other person who was upset or who was angry or what have I done? I didn't do anything. I just walked into the room. But now it's, are you okay? What's your problem? Because I know it's not a me problem. But I help you. I will assist you on trying to find out what you need help with. And that's emotional intelligence. So I've come up with some great, I could sit here and talk about all the names that I've come up with and over the years because there are so many. Right. This even down to my first business, it was called Focus CIC. Now it was called Focus on Creating Your Ultimate Self. Now I know the why didn't fit into focus, but it is what it is. But everything had to have a meaning to me. The names of my businesses need to have meaning and focus. And at that time in 2016 was a year after I had my breakdown, my mental health breakdown. So 2015, I had a minute. We're going to come to that one. And focus on creating your ultimate self was a CIC community interest company that I didn't even know that I could set up, but I set one up when I found out that I could, obviously. And yeah, the name had to mean something to me. And throughout that year, from 2015 to 2016, which was literally a year to the date that I resigned from my previous job as a secondary school teacher, when I started to focus on creating my ultimate self, the world started to open up, things started to flourish for me. And so I said, that's what it's going to be called, because the people that I work with, which were primarily young people at the time, I want them to focus on creating their ultimate self and not try and be like other people and not try and conform to what other people are doing. So that's why it was called that. So I couldn't come up with names like this. And I always say I'm not creative, but then I had to remind myself that creativity comes in different forms. It's about writing beautiful poems, which I can't do or don't do. Not about writing beautiful stories, which I don't do. Not about drawing, which I can't do. It comes in different forms. And that's what I had to keep reminding myself of. That's my uniqueness. So yeah, so that's a bit about my naming conventions. But can you see where there's a theme going through here? By your design, focus on creating your ultimate self, bounce forward. It's all about the person doing something better for themselves, coming from that shadow into your gift. And at that time, I had no idea what human design was, what gene keys were. And obviously knew about astrology, but not as much as what I know now. Let's land this year of becoming 50, turning 50, is a year that I am the brand, but I want people to know why I am the brand because they can hear me becoming the brand, becoming 50, if that even makes sense. My thing is about identity. I am building my identity. I want to help others do the same. And so you're going to hear me talk about different things to do around identity, about business, about trauma, because I'll do another video on trauma because I'll do another video about my mental health breakdown. But I just thought I'll introduce myself. There's so much more that I have to say, and I'm probably going to record a video straight after this so that because I'm in that momentum of recording a video and to deal with the consistency aspect of things. Tune in if you want to come on this journey of me, of how I'm living life by my design on my way to becoming 50 years young. This is my form of identity shift. And know that let's be delusional. Yeah, this is this journey. So thank you for listening. Speak soon.